The views expressed in this interview are those of the individuals and do not reflect the official policy or position of the U.S. government, the Department of Defense, the U.S. Navy, or the Naval Postgraduate School. Welcome to the Trident Room, brewer of stout conversation, unfiltered and on tap.
All right, y'all. Hey, welcome back. This is Anthony.
And Alora.
Welcome back to the Trident Room Unfiltered podcast. And today, again, is Lena Free Wednesday. And guess what else there, Laura?
A sad face emoji because we miss her.
Hashtag. That's right. It's trending. And we're also joined by two new guests. You guys mind introducing yourselves?
Hey, how's it going? I'm Lieutenant Michael Harper.
All right.
Hey everyone, Lieutenant Mac Womack.
All right.
Mac Womack, that's a great name.
Is that real?
Thanks, gotta credit my parents for that one.
Shout out
Mackie
parents.
Womack.
Mackie. That's a lot of alliteration there. I like that. Yeah. You guys might tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a Navy Surface Warfare Officer. I'm actually one of the first, and so is Mac. We are actually part of the new program in the Navy called the Navy TCT, Tailored Career Transition to FAO program, where
yeah.
we're going to come back
Cool.
and do
What's
another.
a FAO? Explain
A
that.
foreign area officer.
Awesome.
So basically, the two of us, we're both students here, but once we finish our time here at MPS, we will go back to the fleet, serve another tour as department heads, and then after that, we'll go on to our respective areas of operation as foreign area officers.
Awesome.
I'll go to Southcom, and Mac will go to Indo-PACOM, where we will serve the Navy as strategic operators.
That's
Awesome.
so cool.
And I see you're wearing your Defense Language Institute swag there. So you went to school prior to coming here?
So I'm a prior enlisted sailor.
cool.
I joined the Navy
I
in
am too, yeah.
2014, and when
Wow.
I first signed up as a CTI, as a Navy linguist. Came here to Monterey as a Spanish linguist, spent my time here, and then went off, did my time as an enlisted sailor, commissioned as a surface warfare officer, and I knew that Monterey, California is a promised land. I did everything I could to get back to here, to include applying to become a foreign area officer, coming back to MPS for graduate school.
Fantastico.
Muy bien, yeah.
Dios mío. Yeah, so you mentioned a few different acronyms, just for some of our guests who are other services don't know. So CTI, you mind explaining what that is again?
So it's a cryptologic technician interpretive, a fancy way of saying Navy linguist. But essentially, we support our signals intelligence, our national side intelligence partners.
Cool.
But the reality is, we are people in uniform, in the Navy uniform, cheap labor for the DoD, but we get to basically each have an area of expertise as a linguist and an intelligence analyst, and supporting the greater forces.
Yeah. Where'd you serve as a SWO at? Were you out in sea?
So as a SWO, Surface Warfare Officer, I served both my division officer tours in San Diego. I was very fortunate. I served on an amphibious platform for 3 years, deploying to the CENTCOM AOR, but taking on Marines, loved it, loved everything about it.
Ate all your food, worked out and all that?
Absolutely. And then my second tour was on a littoral combat ship in San Diego, training other platforms to deploy to the Westpac.
Yeah, super cool. How about yourself, Mac? Tell us about yourself, man.
Yeah, so thank you, Mike, for covering a lot of that introduction. But I'm also a Surface Warfare Officer.
Awesome.
I went to Officer Candidate School, commissioned through there. Both my division officer tours were in Japan. So
me too, man.
I love
Yeah, that's
Japan.
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, first one
awesome.
was though. Yeah, awesome. Were you in Sas Vegas or were you you're in Yokosuka? Where were you at?
I was in both.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So first tour was in Yokosuka. I was on USS Shiloh out there. Served as the first lieutenant. Absolute blast. Japan is awesome.
Dude,
Japan is
salty,
awesome.
man, dude. Your
Agreed.
first lieutenant? Oh, dude.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
I had the best senior chief bosun mate in the
man.
world.
Yeah,
He
boats.
really taught me how to be a great officer, how to treat sailors.
Yeah.
What a great time. Second tour was in Sas Vegas. And
For our listeners, why do they call it Sas Vegas? This is Sasebo, by the way, Sasebo. But why do they call it Sas Vegas?
so they call it Sas Vegas because right outside of base, you have what most sailors refer to as Sailor Town. A lot of opportunities for sailors to have a really good time out there.
For better or for worse.
Maybe get in trouble, maybe have fun.
So-
Learning experiences is what I'm hearing. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of lessons learned that come out of that to really help build your.
Future spouses, future
Yeah.
divorces. It's fun. It's all fun.
Which one of those did you end up with?
So I met my wife there, and we're still together.
Yay!
That's
It
good.
is.
That's good.
Hooray.
I love that.
So we are.
Is there a Japanese Elvis that did your wedding?
So
Wait, you could do that?
not a Japanese Elvis, but we did have multiple weddings.
Of course. it
Was
makes
one of
sense,
them
yeah.
with Elvis?
I wish it was, but it wasn't. Although plenty of opportunity for that in Las Vegas.
Heck yeah.
No, but we did the old wedding in Sasebo, got married at Town Hall, came back to America.
So you had to get your certificate translated to English.
We did.
Right, yeah,
We
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Went through that whole process. Came back to America. Had a wedding with my my New Jersey family.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
And then finally,
Where's the accent?
we get the, you know what? Jersey folks get that a lot.
Let's
We
get
get
another
that.
beer.
Yeah,
Come
another
out,
drink here. It's
yeah.
gonna come out.
Yeah, but we had a ball.
Hey, yeah, there it is.
That's great.
awesome.
And what are you studying, or what's your region of expertise for the FAO program?
So surprisingly, Indo-PACOM.
Oh, nice,
Oh, yeah.
man.
So-
yeah.
You
So-
mentioned that.
So what language are you going to be focusing on for INDOPACOM?
So I don't know the language yet.
Oh, okay.
But it will probably and most likely be one of the regions that they offer there.
Yeah.
So
What
anywhere
are the
from Korean to Japanese to could be a simplified Chinese language
Any
or
language you're hoping for?
I'd
great question,
love
yeah.
Japanese.
How surprising! Yeah.
But I mean, after those tours, my wife and I we went to a very different location, Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, man. I
wow.
love Jacksonville, man. Heck yeah.
Had a complete blast there.
Yeah,
My wife
good
now
people.
is a
Yeah.
giant Jaguars fan.
Yeah, it's a great stadium. Good people
What,
too.
what
Awesome
sports ball
stadium.
kind of activity is that one?
Uh,
Jaguars.
Football.
Football.
Great,
okay.
great American football.
That's
Go
it. That's
football.
it.
Go sports.
Go sports. Yeah. I have a family who retired there. Both my aunt and uncle were in the Navy, and they live in Jacksonville. And I had a sister who went to St. Augustine, so I just love that area. It's a beautiful area, great people. Yeah, I just always had a great time in Florida whenever I'm out there.
It's
that neck of
always a
the
good
woods.
time.
So, how this works with us is we're going to all put our fingers in this app that I have. It's going to choose a random first player, which will be a topic of your choice as long as it abides by our rules that we previously discussed. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Ready?
Okay. You want to hold the phone?
All doing it.
Yep, sticker.
That's it.
Hold it down until it makes a color, and then the selected color will be.
Oh, there we go.
I feel like that's.
That took
That's
all
two
the
for
pressure
two.
off of me.
Here.
Took all the pressure off of me. Okay.
I should have not put my finger.
Ah!
down.
You can defer again.
Defer my topic.
I didn't hear that in the rules.
You ready for a topic?
Oh, are you a rule follower?
Only
One
when
of
it comes
those
to me
rule
not having to do
followers?
stuff.
Something that I'm curious about and have been for a while because I haven't had the chance to discuss it, but I want to know what your feelings are about cursive and if you agree or disagree that it should not be taught in schools anymore. Because it's something.
What brings this question particularly?
I'm sad that they don't teach cursive in schools anymore.
They don't?
No.
Oh.
They stopped
Really?
teaching. Yes. They stopped teaching cursive in schools, and it hurts me because
So-
I love.
So this goes back. Maybe I am a rule follower because
Yeah.
I am all for it.
Yeah.
My writing is atrocious. You'd think I'm a doctor by how I write on paper.
Yeah.
But I am all for it because I think that some kind of baseline of teaching the next generation of how to do things, rule-based,
Right.
they have something to fall back on down to the baseline, like
Yeah.
where I live.
Right.
But at least shoot for the stars and fall high.
Yeah.
That's kind of my feeling. If raise the bar as high as you can and let them fall from there.
You're saying that learning cursive gives like an early entrance into some sort of like rule-based order?
Do something challenging. Do something hard. And if you don't end up doing it, I don't use cursive
Yeah.
ever.
Okay, that's fair.
And I've worked
Yeah.
with a few people who write beautifully, who write in cursive.
Yeah.
I swear to goodness, they look like Lord of the Rings Elvish, how well they write. But the reality
Yeah.
is, I
Yeah.
could never aspire to that in a million years. But man, use that as like try to get there.
Yeah.
I wish the next generation could try to get there. And if they end up writing like me, I'll take that as like a fallback.
So what are they learning instead then?
They just, I guess print.
Okay.
They learn print.
And then
like-
then it's from print to typing immediately, I guess. Like
I think
don't
we're about
think-
4 years away from the next generation learning ChatGPT and voice to text.
Yeah,
and that's about
they're-
it.
It's
To their
gonna
mind,
get rid of
you know,
handwriting. Yeah.
Neuralink.
Everybody has like awful handwriting these days, and I feel like it's directly contributed to them stopping cursive.
yeah, but where do you use handwriting in though?
I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but
no,
but I
please.
do think there's something special about cursive and the way that when you connect the letters. Something I heard is that your brain has a greater ability to register what that word is. So once you connect everything, it almost like there's nodes in your brain that are then able to like recognize what you're writing a little better and recognize it. And that's something I learned when I was trying to learn languages back in school. They had us write in Italian from Jersey. So when we took our language class,
Taught you Italian in school?
yeah, back in New Jersey, we were a pretty predominantly Italian-American area.
Yeah, of course.
But they had us write our Italian in cursive because when you're learning a new language and you're connecting the letters, it's easier to register. At least that's what we were taught. So I think there are some benefits that are worth exploring.
And maybe as a prior linguist, there's beauty in language. Can I put you on blast?
Please.
Japanese has how many different types of written language? 2?
It's like a few.
Three.
isn't it?
Three?
Three,
Yeah.
yeah.
And kanji is the most complex of all of them, right?
Yeah.
And I have a friend who is having their second child very soon.
Mazel tov.
Who is
L'chaim.
excited about the naming convention of their child, how it can be written in kanji.
Oh, cool.
That is
That's a unique way of
amazing.
thinking about it, yeah.
And to sit there and listen to two people who love each other, are so excited for their child to be named this way, but get to choose how beautifully it's written in kanji.
That's pretty
There's something
God.
special about
That's very
that.
beautiful. Yeah.
And I think there's something that is lost for the next generation if we can't do that. And I
Right.
think that's something that I'd advocate for every day.
I absolutely agree, and I think that's really cool.
Let me play devil's advocate. Do you think there's anything that we could gain for not doing that? The reason I ask that is because I think there's been a lot more pushback. And there's a couple different podcasts I listen to that this is like a focus of episode that we're losing something with ChatGPT or LLMs. But I guess to steelman it, maybe I'll start off. Like I counter that with that's allowing you to expand to other different things. For instance, I'm more of a technical guy. Double E. One of my undergrads was double E. I don't code in assembly or machine language. I use a higher level language.
Yeah.
And now I'm using LLMs to help me with like coding. So that's allowed me now to less focus on specific syntax and grammar of like some arbitrary language that's made up, to focus more on like the overall bigger picture of where I want to go with certain things. So can you think of like maybe a steelman of like why this would be a good thing perhaps?
So I can think of the positives. I think what to push back on is that's a benefit for you because you know the difference.
That's
and you
true.
have that
That's
baseline
fair.
foundation.
That's
right.
fair.
I'm here at
Correct.
MPS to get a degree in National Security Affairs at emphasis Latin America. Could I chat GPT what the socioeconomic conditions of Chile are right now? Absolutely. But can I have the fundamental baseline conversation about why that's important? Have somebody face-to-face push back on me?
Yeah.
You need that baseline. And I think that my personal opinion
Yeah.
of, rules-based order or whatever have you,
Yeah.
I think that we need that foundation to just kind of use as a baseline for life, and I think that should never be lost on us, and I think
Yeah.
that that's important going forward. We as a university are struggling with that question of where we're going with, generative AI and all those
Yeah.
things, but we have
Yeah.
that benefit of knowing the difference.
Do you think that maybe the people who predominantly, I'm thinking like medieval, like Europe, like Latin was the lingua franca, right? That was all they spoke. So I'm curious if maybe they had a certain similar sentiment where people moved away, like let's say Dante when he wrote, Inferno. Now it's in more the vernacular. Like I'm curious if people had a similar argument, like they're not learning Latin, like we should be learning Latin, So I'm not saying I disagree. I do think that there should be something there, and I think, however atrocious my cursive was and is currently now, to your point, I think both of your points. I think there is something there that stirs the brain that we have with symbols, with our logic, abstraction, all that can be combined in. Not just learning blocks of letters, but I think also the more, perhaps artistic, right? Because why does cursive exist? I'm not really
Yeah.
sure, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Yeah, but can you all think of maybe like a positive of not learning cursive? That's a tough one. Perhaps.
I think it also comes down to, when you talk about all this new technology that's out there, the language learning models, coding. I remember going through schools, and I think we all do this. We had to take keyboarding classes, and what had to be sacrificed to add the keyboarding class
Yeah.
Right.
to the curriculum because keyboards weren't always around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
if they're going to choose, hey, what are we sacrificing so that we could teach teach our young children some kind of early stage coding or something that may be more beneficial. I've always heard,
I like that.
perhaps like, hey, maybe we want to teach our kids more financial literacy at early stages, So if you have to pick something as a sacrifice,
Yeah.
as much as I think there are benefits to
Right.
cursive, and I'm happy I'm not the one making these decisions on what to sacrifice.
That's very
But
fair.
it seems like
Low on the
cursive may
priority
be
list.
a little low. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get that. Yeah. What's interesting when you bring up kind of creativity in cursive is that when handwriting is analyzed, those who have very loopy, swooshy cursive, like think of Walt Disney's signature, those are people that tend to be more creative on the creative side, rather than
So you're saying that's like an early metric where maybe a teacher, parent, mentor can see something and be like, this person might lean a certain way, and maybe we can adjust how
Right.
we're
We can learn
teaching
so
somebody
much
from that.
someone's
That's fair.
handwriting.
Now I'm thinking about how bad my cursive is and what that says about my abilities in this world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, but truly, because although you might not be like a Walt Disney type of creative, whatever your handwriting says about you, it does speak about what you are, what your strengths are.
They're like the tea leaves to our souls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man,
The tea leaves
That's
to our
scary.
souls.
that's scary.
Handwriting's cool.
I think it's amazing. It's not my forte, and it never will be. But again,
Yeah.
I support it.
What do you think could be the next cursive? I guess like what could be the next? I guess we talked a little bit about it already. Like it could be financial literacy or something. But like
I like the coding.
I do think that like you
Or
know
some
we
abstraction,
talk
right?
about it's some elementary school, some board somewhere had to make a decision to sacrifice something in the curriculum to put keyboarding skills into our lesson planning growing up. And I really do think the next step is coding and what that will happen. I agree with you 100%. And I think that the reality is there are these tools that exist, not just LLMs that currently exist, but there were platforms 10 years ago that basically presented to the public coding that could all paradigms could understand it. I can't remember this specific tool, but it was either Harvard or Princeton that I think it was Princeton that created a tool where they basically made coding like a puzzle and very simple 3 or 4 sided puzzle pieces where you could put it together and understand the logic behind it, because this university understood there was a paradigm shift that was happening in the world, and the next generation should understand this as a fundamental building block of language for us as humans.
yeah, actually, I was gonna bring that up. I forget what I think it's Lego Next, right? They can be more visual for children.
Oh, there's
to,
all kinds of coding
Yeah.
games and
yeah,
activities for kids.
it's
these days.
more of like an abstraction in their mind to develop. Like I want to program this robot to go somewhere. It's the earlier ones are like less of like a syntax, but more of like pictures or concepts.
Yeah.
You know, left, right, up, down. You know, temporal, things of that nature. And you know, I think that's a skill set that actually, let me ask you this question, because I'm thinking about this sometimes when I talk to some other people who go to DLI, and like my Spanish is atrocious now, but I lived in Mexico for a little bit, and there was a switch where my dreams stopped being in English and then started becoming in Spanish. So my question is, for your conception of a language, is it language, then an internal mental model, and then another language, or is it like, does that make sense what I'm asking, I guess? Like, is it more conceptual in your head, but then it outputs as like a language?
You know, it's funny. You said it very simply, because I think as a prior linguist and as somebody who's lived in another country, there's a moment in your learning of another language. The first time you dream in another language is one of the most significant events that ever happens in your
Yeah.
life. And
agree.
I woke up crying. It was one of the most amazing things that ever happened in my
Wow,
life.
yeah.
And I will forever remember that day. Could I break that down into what specifically I was learning or not learning
Yeah.
that made that difference? I don't know, but I will say that, you know, I went to DLI I think 12 years ago, and my language abilities have been a roller coaster, you know,
Yeah.
of proficiency.
Yeah,
But
of course.
the reality is, I do remember when the actual switch happened to when I started becoming a good linguist, and
Wow.
it actually was not in the early years, right after school.
Yeah.
It's when I had a passion for it, and
Ah.
when I actually, the first time I came home, went, you know, turn on the TV and put something on in Spanish because I wanted to, and I wanted to learn about a vacation I was going on to Mexico
Oh, cool.
or to Argentina,
Yeah, yeah.
and the passion that existed in that moment, that's when things started really clicking. And I think that when it comes to coding and then the way the next generation thinks about languages and technology, I think there is genuine interest that we in our generation may not understand, but
Totally.
they do. But they
Yeah.
genuinely do. It's part of their paradigm. And I think embracing that for their sake is what's going to make the difference. It's
Yeah.
not forcing it upon them like cursive to a previous generation,
Right.
but saying this is what you care about, and let's explore that. I think making that sacrifice and adjust that
Right.
will make the difference in the
You
next
shouldn't
generation.
learn this because it's something that I care about. You should learn this because it's something that you'll care about in the future.
Yeah.
Wow.
I will say, over the course of this conversation, my opinion on where cursive should be taught is like slowly starting to
Yes,
change.
I like that.
And now I'm more like, we have to look towards the next generation. You know,
As
we have to
something
figure
that
out what we're
you're not
changing
probably
cursive
gonna
to.
change. I agree with everything
Well-
that's been said, but what's 2 minutes a day to teach a letter is not going to hurt anything.
Well,
Yeah.
the reason I
That's true.
I actually like this question a lot. I'm glad you actually brought this up too, because I was in Brazil, and that's one of the questions I asked some of the people who are tour guides, and quite a few people didn't speak English. I don't speak Brazilian Portuguese, so I was using the translation app almost the entire time. I like ran out of my data, and so it was very difficult to communicate. And yeah, there's
Oh
body
no,
language and
running
all
out
that.
of data in
Well-
Portugal.
Well, really, it's because
Ow.
it was like I'm in a movie, you know, because I
Okay,
can't. That's what
yeah.
it was. Because
Yeah.
I was using it so much to translate to people. Even the elites didn't really
Gotcha.
speak very much like English, and you know, the onus would be on me to speak, you know, the
Sure.
language, you know.
Language is a bridge between cultures, but the reality is we sometimes don't appreciate the fact that when we're in somebody else's home turf, that it's on us to have the onus to bridge the gap to them.
Totally.
But when you make that effort, it matters.
Yeah, I will say they did appreciate me, you know, pulling this up and like,
Yeah.
you know, I keep speaking in here, you know, trying to figure out exactly what they're saying. But it also made me think more about, I mean, we're talking about language, but also mathematics is a language. And I say that because sometimes when I'm doing research that's like math heavy, I dream in math. And it's like it's hard to explain. Like, it's very conceptual and like it's
I
abstract.
thought you were making a Mean Girls reference.
Is that really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, the main character's like. Or
I just
somebody
know
asked
that
her,
on
like,
Wednesdays I wear
why
pink.
Yeah, Wednesday. You stop doing it. Not Anthony though. Pink pants.
Yeah, this is actually supposed to be orange, but
Oh,
anyways,
well,
that's
it's not
fine.
They look salmon.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody asked her why she liked math so much, and she's like, it's because it's the same in all languages or something.
That
like
is true. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I do dream in that, and it's like weird to kind of wake up, because when I wake up, now it's translated from math to like English.
Yeah.
You know, in my internal monologue.
Oh,
Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
conceptually, when I'm dreaming, it's like, yeah, I have these abstractions, but then when I wake up, I have to translate it out loud to something else.
The most beautiful thing I ever heard about math, I have a uncle who's a math professor.
Oh wow.
And just you operate on two different languages.
Yeah.
We operate on two different levels, and I'm down here and he's up here. But the reality is, you know,
For our listeners, there was a huge gap between his hands.
it was quite
It was
significant.
not very
He
close.
was stretching his hand.
he was one of the early founders of a few programming languages.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
he taught math at the University of Edinburgh, and
Oh, wow.
he talked to me about like higher programming languages and higher mathematics. And there's a certain point where you can't really write everything on paper and demonstrate it physically, and where you need to have faith. And when some of
Interesting.
those higher concepts come into the abstract, and when you need to have faith in a process that things exist on a
Fascinating.
higher level,
Yeah.
you really engage it differently.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I
Yeah.
never really understood that, and like breaking that down. But I just appreciate that every single day of like, you know, math is something that I may never grasp, but even the smartest people in the world may look at this and have faith that concepts exist and care about it enough to have faith that these things at higher levels
Yeah.
exist.
That's true.
That's amazing.
I mean, you know, you owe me $20 is the same thing in every language, right? It's all math. Like, where's my $20 at? Laura, you owe me.
Do I?
I buy you drinks. That's right. I'm just kidding. Alumni Foundation's paying for this, so.
I was saying, don't tell me about conversions in Brazil.
yeah, exactly right. Oh man. So Japanese is something you really would like to learn, but is there another language that maybe as like a backup perhaps, or like this culture really fascinates me? Indo-Pacom. I know they're having some issues between I want to say Cambodia and Thailand right now. To date ourselves, I guess, in this particular podcast, but there's just something like within that region that you're like, man, I'm super fascinated about this, and I'd love to learn this language and/or be stationed there.
That is a great question. So Japanese is absolutely up there as number one. However, I would honestly be super happy learning any of those languages. Really, any language. I think it's such an amazing skill
Agreed.
to just add to your portfolio.
Yeah.
So I'm excited either way. As I mentioned earlier, when I was stationed in Japan, I had the privilege to go to many good ports throughout Asia.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
And I just thought the cultures especially the food. Everything was amazing.
The 7-Eleven.
Oh my goodness,
Yo,
7-Elevens
thing.
there.
Japanese
They are
7-Eleven
they're
is
amazing.
dope.
Absolutely amazing. So the answer is just yes. I want to go there. I want to learn a language. I'll be happy to live in any of those countries. I think every single one of them has something really, really cool to offer.
Yeah. Well, you know, I actually have a quick story about being stationed in Japan, and maybe you had something similar. There's not a lot of metal cutlery. You know, it's a lot of chopsticks, things like that. So something that I encountered where I was on a small boy, I was on the Mustin. We're out to sea all the time, but the times that we
Is
weren't,
a small boy? What do you
sorry,
call it?
destroyer, like a smaller than like a large ship.
Okay.
Crude as cruiser
Yeah,
or destroyer.
Yeah, cruiser destroyer.
I remember when I was out there, Mustin was like the workhorse.
Oh my gosh, we're right there all
Oh my
the
goodness,
damn
yeah.
time.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
So
you.
so the very brief moments we were in port fixing up something or whatever, right? One of the longest stretch was like, I don't know, 20 days or something, and then we're out to sea again. But like during that time period, I got back to the ship and I was using like a metal cutlery, right? And I could taste the metal that you get so used to. But because in Japan you use a lot more chopsticks and you know, whether it's disposable or not.
Okay.
But it's something that like really stuck with me, that I'm like, oh, this is like a metal fork. Did you have that experience at all? I'm just kind of curious. Or any like a similar experience?
First time I was in Japan and saw somebody use larger chopsticks as a serving dish and to cut something up, it blew my mind. I respect it to this day, but to see somebody handle an entire portion or plate for like 6 people with larger chopsticks, I gained respect that day that I never imagined.
Maybe those were just tongs.
Maybe they were just tongs.
They're called tongs, man.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I mean, I think there's something absolutely special about the way chopsticks are utilized. I mean, it is like, it's almost like an art. It's such a skill.
Yeah.
I agree.
And just like you said, even the way you eat the food, it's almost like, you know, you're placing the food in your mouth.
Purposefully.
You know,
Yeah.
purposely.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, with a spoon, a fork, like,
Shoveling it in.
it feels like you're shoveling it in your
Oh,
face, you know?
no.
Oh,
Um,
that's a thing?
Or me with my hands, I'm like a
Like, you know,
barbarian
like,
over here. eating
As,
my
as an American eater, like, I can go through a plate of food much faster than my wife, who almost, like, you know, appreciates every bite with the chopsticks.
I like that.
And it's just such a
Intentional
difference.
eating.
I will
Yeah.
say, circling back to cursive,
Yeah.
never have experienced in my life when like anything in the world like I was in Japan, and everything is done with purpose. Not everything 100%, but generally speaking, to meet people that care about things, that things are done ceremoniously, that things are done with
Right.
a purpose,
ritual.
whether it comes to how you eat your food, to how you present yourself, to how you introduce yourself. It is one of the most beautiful cultures I've ever experienced in my life. But that right there is a connection. Chopsticks to cursive, people do it for a purpose and do it for
Oh,
a
that's
reason,
fair.
and it matters
to
to
make
people
them
around
happy,
the world.
You
Yeah.
slow down. You're not scratching through your homework.
It-
You're being intentional with your words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels very mindful, almost like every cursive word you write,
Yeah.
or every bite of food you eat, it feels purposeful, it feels mindful, it feels fulfilling.
And so that's what I'll say. I think every generation could benefit for something like that, of purposeful, mindful actions to care about the things that you're doing, the things around you, and the people that are around you. And I think that is just like why Japan matters, why I care about Japan, and why I love Japan in a nutshell right there. Like the most amazing culture I've ever experienced in my life. Yeah.
That's
well,
awesome.
I think that's a great way to end our episode.
yeah.
It's just, you brought everything,
Yeah.
you tied everything together.
came
in
full
a
circle.
beautiful
Right?
little-
That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Wrapped in a bow. Yeah. So let us know if you're team cursive or you know.
I think we're all team cursive. We just have a more open mind.
Full-time supporter, 100% not contributor.
Thank
All
you
right.
so
Well, with that,
much.
let's
Yeah.
cheers away.
Hey,
Thanks,
cheers.
y'all.
Thank you so much for this
Cheers.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
y'all.
you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
And that's it. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and let us know what you think about cursive.
Yeah. Any other topics you think you're interested in, or please stop by and let us know. And till next time.
Yeah, contribute topics so I don't make them talk about cursive for 30 minutes.
Thanks for joining us in the Trident Room. For more information about today's guests and topics, please visit the show notes online at nps.edu/Trident Room Podcast. The Trident Room Podcast has been brought to you by the Naval Postgraduate School Alumni Association and Foundation. For questions, comments, and suggestions, please email us at tridentroompodcasthost@nps.edu.